Another day in the world of Formula 1 2020. The winter seems so long ago, but today we have got the release of McLaren's Formula 1 2020 Challenger. Another livery reveal. The MCL 35 is with us. We expected McLaren to stick with that papaya orange. They're really finding refound fame, really. They used it early on in the Formula 1 journey. Did they keep it for 2020? Is there any new looks and flares? There it is. There is your McLaren Formula 1 2020 car. And if I'm being totally honest, when I first saw it, I wasn't really a big fan. I've now had a chance to digest it just a little bit, analyse the car a little bit more, and speaking to the council, I think we've all agreed it's quite a nice car. I haven't yet decided if it's better than last year's McLaren. I thought they made such huge strides last year with those nice triangle-y, flexy, unboxy sequins that were over the car. I thought looked really smart, a little bit different, but really nice. This year, they've changed it up, and actually, they've changed it up more than I expected. I expected them to go down the route of a Renault, of a Red Bull, keep it predominantly the same, maybe a slight extra triangle here and there, but I think it's quite dramatically different, and I wasn't really expecting it. Even the numbers you can see there, the 35, looks quite dramatically different. And whereas I spoke the other day that I think a lot of teams might go for a really dramatic change in design and livery and concept in 2021, again, I didn't expect McLaren to go this route in 2020. It's not massively different. You know it's a McLaren. They're still orange, they're still blue, so it's pretty straightforward. The orange has changed though. Whilst it's still a papaya orange, it's a matte orange, and rather than having a black halo, which is something I've been quite critical of with other Formula 1 teams, we've got an orange halo you can just see in the back there. I really like it. I think the orange worked really well, and I've got to hold my hands up. Orange is my favourite colour, and I am an absolute sucker for an orange Formula 1 car. Orange matte? I don't think we've ever really seen a matte orange car in Formula 1, at least not from my recollection anyway, and I think it works quite well. The biggest change on this year's McLaren is the blue. Again, last year we had those triangles on the back of the car. This year, as you can see now, we've got a strip of blue at the top, a strip of blue at the bottom with a black border, and at the back of the car fades into black completely. It's different. It's a little bit out there. But it's exactly what I've been asking for this year with livery launches. I think we're all accepting that your likes of Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull are going to be predominantly similar. But I think we have seen in the past in Formula 1, especially with teams like Ferrari, you can still be seen as, oh yeah, that's easily identical with a Ferrari car, but mix it up a little bit. And I think that's exactly what McLaren have done this year. It's enough of a difference where you know it's a McLaren, but it's very different to last year's car in my eyes. We saw nowhere near this amount of blue in a McLaren car, perhaps ever. It reminds me slightly, just thinking, speaking out loud, I hadn't really come across this actually. I'm looking at these images on screen now, and it kind of reminds me of the 2012 Vodafone McLaren, where we had that big red side piece on the side pod. This time we've got blue, and we had red at the top in that silver McLaren, and now we've got blue and the silver's orange. So it's kind of like a 2012 McLaren livery just converted into the 2020 colours. So the more I look at it, the more I like it. Of course, we've still got the big Husky sponsor on the rear wing. There you're getting a better view of the back of the car and the numbers on the car, that's probably the biggest thing I'm not too sure about at the moment. I thought last year's number design was a little bit cleaner, but it works. The front of the car, blue front wing, I thought that looked nice. Over the last 2 seasons, they've had a blue front wing. And whilst in 2018 there was a blue front and rear wing, and that was about it, they seem to be adding slightly more blue each year. And I don't usually think orange and blue works together, but I think in this car, it works quite well. Of course, it is McLaren's last season with Renault. This is the last McLaren Renault car we will see perhaps ever, or maybe for quite some time. So maybe this livery could be used next year, but in the old colour scheme again when they go back to Mercedes. That could be quite cool. But my initial thoughts are I quite like it. I didn't expect to say that when I first saw it just pop out on screen, but with a little bit of time to digest, it's working for me. I've got a funny feeling it's going to be a bit of a controversial one, a bit of a mixed opinions, mixed bag across the community, but I like it. And in terms of rating, I gave the Ferrari a 6, I believe. I haven't rated any of the others so far. I might do at the end of the week. I mean, Red Bull's the same, so I might as well give that a 5. Mercedes, I think we can't really judge that one until we get and see it on track. And I would say a similar thing with this McLaren. In industry lighting, in artificial lighting, it's very hard to judge what a car actually is going to look like in anger on different circuits. And when we go to places like Bahrain, in Singapore, seeing it in the dark is completely different again. And last year with the Ferrari that went to a matte colouring, at some venues looked incredible. At other venues, it didn't quite work for me. So I think this matte McLaren could be a similar kind of vibe, but we'll get, obviously, a better picture next week in testing. But initial thoughts are I quite like it. And I'm going to give the MCL 35 an 8 out of 10. It's not perfect, but it's getting there. I think I prefer last year's McLaren, which I gave a 9 out of 10. So only just beating it out, but I like the matte orange. I like the blue. It's reminiscent of old McLaren liveries that I grew up with watching Formula 1. So yeah, it's working for me. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, in the live stream, we did see, and I am a sucker for this, we saw the helmet designs of Lando Norris, which is virtually identical to last year's car, but we also saw Carlos Sainz's helmet, which in a mailbox video the other week, I was asked what's my favourite helmet of last year, and I initially went with Carlos Sainz's helmet in the USA, and it's very, very similar to his 2020 helmet. So I'm super, super chuffed with that. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Thank you for McLaren for sending me this little bit of footage. Very, very much appreciate it, boys and girls over at McLaren. Thank you all for watching. If you want to keep up to date with all of the 2020 car launches, you know what to do. Subscribe button is down below. Hit that like button if you did enjoy, and I hope to see you in the next one.